Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing what deku was a singer slash idol part 11, I believe. Before I continue with the story, I did do a rough draft of a video. It's about 16 minutes long. If you guys want to watch my rough draft, all you have to do is say in the comments blooper or rough draft, one of those two, and I will put it down as in rough draft or blooper part and like part all the rest of the that would be the original name, but I decided to junk it. I still have the video if you guys want to watch that. Now with all that said, let's get into the story. Zuko, when he was told that he was going to go to Island, and he asked All Might if he could go there one day earlier, so All Might actually agrees to this. So they're over in going onto the a private plane, and All Might was giving a few calls. No one really special, but Zuko gave a call to Jiro and his father that he's going to go to the concert a little earlier to make sure everything's good, which his father agrees to. But Zuko now calls Jiro and tell her that he will be out of town for a few days. Nowhere special, it's some work stuff, which Jiro understands and said, okay, bye. And the moment that he hung up, he heard a little bit, and nothing, which made him confused on what she was trying to say. On the other end, she said, love you. As she took a deep breath, put away the phone, and she was approached by Momo and the rest of the girls. That scene happens. Let's move on to Zuko over on the plane ride. He is more focusing on his songs and what can change depending on the person or for what he's trying to improve, which All Might is asking him what he's doing with his computer. Zuko explained that some of my songs feel off, so I want to change it in some ways. You want to listen to it? My rough draft of the song, which All Might never had a chance to hear somebody first how they're making songs, so he loves to. He put a pair of headsets, Zuko put his on, and show All Might these bars, a bass, notes, basically everything in a song that, well, make a song. Which All Might is very grateful to learn something new. Which Zuko is just happy to show someone else how it goes, how it works. Now going off into landing, going into their area, Zuko was told to bring his outfit, and so he did, and actually was wearing it. All Might is wearing his, and when he get off, he was expecting a crowd, but luckily no one was there, since he was a day earlier and the grand opening for special intel were about to come. And a good thing they did it earlier, for they don't have to worry about all of this. But sadly, a few reporters, about 5, not 20 like in canon, came by and very happy that they came in early and convincing their bosses to go in a little early, and that they have a special interview with Zuko or Skull and All Might, which All Might explained that he is a teacher to this young man, and Zuko explained that he is very grateful to be his student. All this goes on, and All Might directs Zuko over to David Shield's labs. Now let's move on to another point. Now Melissa, she usually wears something like this. I couldn't find a lab coat for her to wear on top of her, well, regular outfit, so this will be better. She is working on one of her current machines, ideas that she thought would be perfect. She wiped away the rest of the oil on the dress that was somehow turned into a coat. Just stay with me with this. But after that, she looked at the time and realized it's her break time. And since it's a special opening tomorrow, she wants to get ready. So she gets to her room and get dressed into this. More comfortable for her, and she is happy with this. Okay, at this point, it's gonna be spicy. So if you're not 18 or older, and I'll put in down the comments 18 or older at this moment. Just for me to say some things and not worry about the video going down. So please get off and go on to 3 minutes ahead. About 8 minutes ahead. Okay? Now she remember all of the guys that's on Idle Island, and some of them are really older than her, almost at the same age as her father, so that she turned away from those. Some other guys were also around her age, and they were cute, but they weren't anything special. And she looks up in her room to one corner, and she sees Skull on her picture. She feels something. She imagines the day she will ever meet him, and what will be a glorious day will that be. She starts thinking of all these scenarios that could happen, of her accidentally falling on him, her accidentally touching a certain part, and him accidentally touching her. And she is somewhat embarrassed, kind of blushing, but very happy that it will maybe happen, but she feels in her heart that it will never happen. But she's on her bed, laying down, one hand. Sorry, I'm like with a family member, and I'm trying my best not to say it out loud. In fear he will hear it. And well, she feels wet and went to go on for a while until she climaxed. After she cleaned herself up, she gets and goes and see if her father's around. Okay, good. She goes around looking for her father and remember that he's going to be over at his office like always. Moving on to the next scene. Zuko has a chance to talk with David Shield, and David Shield is very happy to meet Zuko Midoriya, the one that heals All Might, and he is asking how did he do it with such a weak quirk. And Zuko explained that he'd been training it ever since he had it, since about 4 years ago. 2 or 4, I forgot which one it was. Which David Shield feels very happy about, but he feels something. He asks the kid, "I'm sorry, but do you go by another name? I feel like I have heard you before." And Zook said, "Oh yeah, you see, I'm also known as Skull." And they hear a door opening. Melissa saying, well, I fucking hate this part. Daddy, you have company?" As she looks and sees All Might, she's very happy to see him, but she looks down and sees someone a little shorter than her, but she recognizes immediately and say, "It's Skull." She excitedly jumped on him, hugged him, and saying that she's his biggest fan. She knows all of his music, all of his endeavors, going to each and every country and knowing that he can speak in each and every languages, which All Might and David Shields see her react this way to Zuko, or Skull. And All Might kind of put a bet on, well, nudge David and ask him, so how long you think she'll realize she's wearing that? David said, 5 minutes. All Might said, 10. They put up some money and just watched the show go on. She explained all these other small details that she knows about Zuko, which Zuko, he knows how to deal with these fan girls. So he just nods in agreement to all of them and said, thank you. I'm very grateful you have watched and heard every song I've written. As he's trying his best not to look directly at her, but he looks up into her eyes, which Melissa feels even happier about, and she remembered that she had these fantasies, these reenactments that she wanted to do. So she gets a little closer, trying to do one of them. She pretends to trip, leaning forward to Zuko, and to her surprise, Zuko actually caught her on her shoulders and put her back up to right side up, which in her head, dang it, in her, well, she said, thank you. I almost fell right there, which Zuko knew all of these tricks and said, yeah, these floors are very wobbly. And this has been going on way over 10 minutes. All Might ordered one, but Melissa was kind of twirling her hair and saying, so why are you here? And Zuko said, well, I was invited by All Might to meet with David Shield. I believe you said your father? She said, yes, he's my father. She explained that she's a scientist and makes a few gadgets. And Zuko said, oh, great. So that would explain your outfit, as he looks away. Which she looks down, see what she's wearing, kind of blushes, looks over to any lab coat that she could find and grabbed it, wrapped around herself. Sorry, I really can't find one that has a lab coat. Just pretend this is a lab coat. She put it on tightly, well, kinda, showing some plot. Let's go with that. Just to be a little bit on the edge. As she put it on and said, sorry, Izuku said, no, I understand. You just needed to take a break. I fully understand that moment. Which Melissa said, yeah, that. So, anyway, Dad, what were you talking about? Which she tried to change the subject. And blushing and all. Zuko actually tells her and her father that he has this ability that's a part of his quirk, where he can boost somebody's body or quirk, or even at the same time. And with that knowledge, a year ago, I somehow healed All Might's injuries. Which Melissa, she knew about the injury, but she never knew how bad it was, or even the quirk. So she said, oh, wow, you're such a great person to heal my uncle. You must be really talented with your quirk. As she leans on him, pressing against something that he can completely feel. And he does not say anything about it. He just looks over to her direction and says, yeah, as he tries to move out of the way. from her grasp. David sees all of this, and All Might kind of cough, giving the two a notice that they are not alone, which Zuko knows fully, which Melissa doesn't. Now, David actually gave a signal to Melissa to show Zuko around for he needs to talk with All Might, which Melissa promptly agrees and start pulling Zuko away. But Zuko actually stopped and asked David Shield, what's the directions to the concert? I need to check some details to make sure it's perfect. Which David said, oh, that's correct. Here's the information. Which Zuko promptly thanks and went along with Melissa. Which Melissa, she was about to leave, but when she heard concert, she stood there and asked, wait, what concert? Which David cursed himself because it was supposed to be a surprise, and Zuko didn't know this, so he told about the concert that's going to happen tomorrow, and he was here to make sure everything will be good. Melissa looks to her father and asks, what does he mean by concert? With a very angry aura coming off her, David spilled the beans and said it was supposed to be a surprise for your birthday present, since your birthday has passed already and I couldn't really throw a party for you because of work and all of this. As he kept going for more excuses, Melissa takes this in and she gets a huge grin, hugged her father and saying thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over again, squeezing him tighter and tighter, because she was happy and mad that she learned about it today. Which David feels. He hears the happy voice and then his spine cracking a bit, popping at some points. As she finally let go and asks Zuko to come on. I'll show you around my lab. And she grabs his hand and happily runs away. Now David, he feels, ow. All Might said, you're getting old, my old friend. And David basically said, you're the one to talk. How old are you? 40? 50? And All Might kind of chuckles, as David as well. And their scene ended. Moving on to Zuko and Melissa. They're going around of Isla Island, but not the main attractions. It's actually the... Okay, I'm saying a lot of Z. I'm sorry about that, I just caught it. But they basically go in the background and see every scientist working on their project, which they know of Zuko or even Skull. So when Melissa said, hey everybody, I know this seems like out of the blue, but Zuko Midoriya is here. And when most of them heard this, they stopped working, looked over, got excited, and ran and talked with Zuko about all of his endeavors like Melissa did. She is a huge fangirl, but everybody else also knows about him because he play songs in their language. So let me explain. Island was known in the movie that it gathered all of the the smartest people in the world to create their best support items and all that. That's very secretive. Which in turn, it's not only American, Japanese, Russian, and Chinese, German, and so on. More of those people. And Zuko recognized some of their accents and said, "Oh, really? It's been so long since I spoke any of those languages." But I think it was like as he started talking to each and every one of them in their native languages, which they feel so grateful to finally talk to someone in their native tongue, but also even more to talk with someone that's so famous for doing it. So they are very happy about this, and they want to show him around as well. So they show him about the work they're doing. Somebody's making a robot, someone's making a gauntlet to make it go faster. Someone's making legs, someone is making a dolphin, robotics, all kind of stuff. Zuko is kind of overwhelmed, but he tries to keep a strict face or a poker face to show everybody that is really enjoying all of this. And they just went on a rant about all of their equipment and how difficult it is. And when they look over to Zuko to see what he will reply, Zuko basically replied in a very nice way of saying, "I am loving all of this motivation, how you guys really put your life work into this. It's almost like you're doing like how I do with my music." And they are just happy about all of this. Zuko's not even using his quirk, but he can tell that he's glowing up the whole room, talking to everybody. And Melissa, she's in the background, just getting a little jealous that everybody gets to talk to him. But she feels even happier knowing that she, well, have a concert coming up and it's going to be for her. So after all that, and it has happened for 8 hours, the whole day has been going through with Zuko talking to each and every scientist that's there, even the ones that kinda know him, like only likes one of his songs. And Zuko's just grateful that they know of him. He doesn't really mind. He says this to them. "I don't really mind if you guys don't like my music. As long as you know of me, I feel like I did a lot for you guys. And I'm so grateful that you even know my name." As he gave a very warm smile, which really shoot through their hearts on how nice this kid really is. Even some of the singers or idols out there, they know they put up a front, but Zuko, he's different. He doesn't put up a front. And this whole day, he could have just stopped and smiling. He could have talked badly to any of them behind their backs, but no, he didn't. It's getting easier and easier to make an hour out of these, but it's only 20 minutes. Now, Zuko was asking Melissa if he could go over to this area, which Melissa sees and remembers that there's going to be a ball or a party happening at that spot as well for the next day. And she pointed out the area that they're going to go. And Zuko said, "Okay, lead the way," as she does very happily, and putting a bit of a hop in her step that basically show her assets to Zuko. Basically, you should know what that means. Which Zuko knows that she's jumping a little bit, but he looks more out everywhere else on how grand and beautiful everything is. And he's saying this to her. She said, "Yeah, yeah." Now, over in the concert area, the stage, Zuko is checking it, jumping around to seeing how stable it is, which Melissa tells him that it is very stable. They're made with very durable equipment, which Zuko said, yes, I know that much about. But it's more about how loud they can be. Which Melissa said, I'm sorry, what do you mean? Which Zuko said, well, come here. As she gets onto the stage, looks and see how it kind of feels to look at everybody else on the, well, floor instead of higher up. And she looks at this and feels kind of dizzy, and Zuko said, hey, come on, over here. Which she comments saying, it feels weird being up here. And Zuko said, oh, that. Yeah, you get used to that after... Actually, you never get used to that. Everybody I ever known actually still feel fear when they look out to the crowd of people waiting for the next song. Which Melissa learns a little bit of detail of what every singer idol goes through for that split second. But now Zuko's explaining about the flooring. He says, well, some parts are even. There's some others that I'm actually looking for. You said that you watched my concerts live stream, correct? And she said yes. I never had a chance to go out there and see you perform real life. Which Zuko said, I understand. I get that. I'm still grateful. But he said, but on some of those stages, I'm not able to step on certain areas for this reason only. As you step on one, and then another step, it sounds of a creak. And Melissa hears it, but she said, but we checked everything, it was perfectly. But Zuko, well, she says this, that she was told by someone else. But Zuko explained, well, they were down on the stage, well, where the crowd would be, and they will never hear it, but I do. So I somewhat make a mark or a mental note not to step there, for I won't throw off the groove. Which Melissa is very happy to hear. But Zuko, he goes in the back showing some lights. He knows everything because he had to help out. He was still young enough to learn about everything. So he's showing to Melissa how things work. Even though that she's been there longer, she should know most of this, but she doesn't know about any of these other stuff that goes in the back of the stage. So Zuko shows her and tells her that some musicians actually help out with tuning, which Melissa is just happy to be there with Zuko. Now, it's getting real late. They're having dinner. All Might invites Zuko over with David, Shield, and Melissa, which they are very happy to do. They're eating food, and Zuko is just listening to every single conversation that David is giving to All Might, and All Might talking about all these other stuff that has happened to them and how life has been. Now Zuko, under all this, asks, I'm sorry, but I didn't... Okay. What's the theme of the concert gonna be? Which David said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought your manager told you. Zuko said, he told me I had a concert for someone. I just don't know who that was. Which Melissa said, oh. And she looked at her father, and her father said, it's actually for my daughter, Melissa Shield, as he gestured to her. It was going to be for her birthday, for her 17th birthday. Let's do it that way. Zuko understand. Well, wait, they're in college. So 19th birthday. Let's do that. Zuko said, oh, so all of this was for you. Oh, I have a few questions about some of my songs. If you do not mind me asking, I would like to talk with you after this, if that's cool with you. And he said this in front of everybody, which David and All Might see nothing of this and allow it, which Melissa was reading a little too much into it and said, yeah, we can do it over in my room. She said that and no one got it. Moving on, finishing dinner, Zuko taking a moment, going over to Melissa's shield room. Zuko opens the door. Well, he knocks very gentle and very nicely. Sorry, that wasn't my table. I can't really do a door yet. She said, come in. And she is wearing this, which, without the dress, really shows some assets on her figure. She was turned around, so he had a chance to see something very special. Melissa turned around and said, "Oh, great, you're here. So, would you like to be on a table or?" And Zuko said, "No. Actually, yes. Do you have a chair I could sit on?" Which Melissa promptly gave. He sat on it. She sat on her bed, being more relaxed, showing off. She's unbuttoned some of her buttons of her dress. Golly, I hate this. Not really, but I just hate where I'm at. Hold on, let me take a break. Okay, here we go. So Melissa is asking what he wants to do, which Zuko said, actually, as he pulled out a notebook and said, actually, I want to know about your life. Which Melissa said, I'm sorry, what? Which Zuko said, well, it's actually what you are expected to think, what your feelings towards your work and your father, and some of these other stuff that will go along with his music. Which she was a little bummed out that it wasn't something else, but she agrees to it because she thinks it's going to go on to another topic. She answered all of them, and Zuko actually sadly gets the bad habit of moving closer and closer to her, which Melissa did the same thing. Even though she's on her bed, she moves closer and closer, which Zuko does not notice. He was more focused on his music. Melissa asked, and what are all these questions for? Do you want to know more about me? And Zuko said, oh, no. I'm sorry, but it's more for the songs. As you know, I make my songs originally. So, knowing a bit about the client or you or anybody, it's best to know some personal effects of your personality to really put you into the song, not put a name on it. Which Melissa feels a little grateful to hear, but she leans a little too close, which Zuko finally noticed where he is at. Inches, he somehow got onto her bed, which it feels nice, it did. But he remembers all the sweet times with Jiro, and said, well, as he stands up very suddenly, breaking the sweet nothings that was about to go on, breaking the concentration with Melissa. She gets a little startled by this, looks up at Zuko and asks what's wrong. And Zuko said, well, it's been great and all, and I really need to focus on the songs. I haven't finished them yet, but yeah, thank you for all those questions, and I'll be going now. Which Melissa said, really? What? And she's thinking in her head, what can she say to bring him back in? And she pretend to fall. She gets up. She tried to pretend, but she actually pulled a Charlie horse on her leg as she falls down. Which Zuko promptly he was about to open the door, but he run over to Melissa and checks if she's okay. Which she says she was going to be okay, but she feels the pain in her leg, which she promptly grab it with her two hands. Zuko knows where she's talking about, promptly lift her up, put her on her bed, and told her to do this kind of movement. To focus on not stretching out your leg, but slowly bend it and then stretch it out a bit. She asked, well, oh, okay, but why should I? And Zuko said, just do it. She does. And slowly, it feels weird, but every time she pull and push, it feels like the Charlie horse is going away. Zuko said, I usually have these cramps when I'm sitting down a little too long, so I know how to ooze and ease the pain a little bit and actually fix it for not lasting too long. He asked her to do this a few more times after you go to sleep, and it will be just as good as new tomorrow. As he, well, said thank you for everything, bows, and walks away and leaves. Now, Melissa in her room, just thinking about all the chances she had to do anything with him, but she had to deal with this Charlie horse, which she's very mad about, to say the least. Now, Zuko, leaving out that situation, was so happy that something like that happened because he doesn't know if he was able to control himself or regret it what he was about to do. So he just leaves that and go to his room. Should I or shouldn't? I don't know. Okay, I have decided to go on with the story. I was gonna stop it at this point, but yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Now, the next day comes. Everybody is finally coming in. The reporters are waiting up front, waiting for All Might, and All Might is in his bed, looking out in the window, seeing all the reporters and thinking to himself, so happy I came here earlier, and went back to sleep. David, up awake, telling these people not to come in the phone, telling them that he doesn't need them anymore, and all of this. In the background, they're getting a little pissed that they had to derail the plan and had to go with the original one. Sorry. Now, Melissa is waking up early, getting her hair done very nicely, and looking like she did yesterday, but a little more cuter. She wants to really show off some more parts. She actually just make her hair a little more straighter than she usually does. More professional, you can say. And she is just waiting for Zuko to text her. And Zuko finally waking up after a long night of writing down music and changing some names and all of this. Making 2 new songs with it. And he's just thinking to what he should do for Juro for her birthday. When is her birthday? And he remembers, I don't know her birthday. And he's freaking out and went to sleep after those 8 hours, finally woke up. He realized that he was not in bed. He was on the table writing some more songs, or the lyrics. He puts everything away. He yawns and went for breakfast. It's somewhat of a hotel / house. Dang, I actually made myself tired. Great. Alright, back to it. Now, Melissa is waiting for it, but she feels hungry and went for breakfast. The moment that they both see each other, Zuko said, "Oh, morning." Yeah, and Melissa said, "Oh, morning. I thought you were going to text me." And Zuko said, "Huh? I'm sorry, but I don't have self service over here." Which Melissa kind of bummed out about this. Zuko dodging that situation to happen because he never calls anybody back but one person, two, three, four, so on. But really, he knows some of these tactics and he doesn't do it often. He went and eats some breakfast and he's talking with Melissa in English, not in Japanese, in English, which she's a little surprised that he would do this early in the morning. But he's very used to this and wants to practice on his English, asking her, "And what's the word for this?" And she say it, Zuko saying it, copying her perfectly, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you mean like this?" Which she felt a little weird, seeing how Zuko can just change its voice out of nowhere and without any prep time with it. Zuko said, "Yeah, it's kind of a habit of mine in the mornings." But anyway, what were you trying to tell me last night? Which Melissa said, "Oh, right. She didn't think this far ahead. How about I'll show you around the expo, have everybody show off their equipment to the press." Which Zuko said, "Yeah, I like that." He finished breakfast, gets a little more dressed, which as he was walking away, she was checking him out from the head to toe, everything, and tried to burn it in her memory forever. But her father coughed in very aggressively, which scared her a bit, and asked her father how long he's been there, and he said he's been here the whole time. And she kind of blushes. She asked, "How much of you heard that?" And he said, "All of it." And I approve. Which Melissa is a little, "I'm sorry, what?" He said, "I approve." He is a very nice young man with a very powerful quirk. I think you two will be a very good couple. Which Melissa feels very happy about, gives her father a hug and saying thank you, and then ran off into her room. Which he's just sitting there, drinking some coffee, and saying, "Ah, young love," and went right back on his studies. She gets dressed, Zuko gets dressed, and they went out on their little date around the island. They go about halfway until he feels a sudden chill down his spine. He sees Oraka asking him what you're doing here. Which Zuko said, "Oh, hi Oraka, it's been a while since I've seen you." He looks closer. He sees Momo and said, "Oh, it's very nice to see you." As he looks further away and sees Jiro with her headsets in a cobra shaking form, he knows something bad's gonna happen, but he doesn't know what. And I'm gonna end it at this point, mainly because okay, I really have to stop it because my family's getting here, and well, it's getting loud already. Bye.